What's good, Wizards fans? It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, and I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. So today, I am previewing the shooting guard position, just going over minutes and what I expect from these guys: Bradley, Bill, Corey Kispert. We'll group Will Barton into the shooting guard position as well. Johnny Davis, I'll list him as a shooting guard as well. Quentin Jackson, who is most likely going to be in the G League as well. At the shooting guard position. And then tomorrow, the next episode, we'll do the wings, like the threes and the fours. We already did the centers. And then we'll finish up with the point guards. There's so many wings, I might have to do a 2-part episode just to go over the wings and just break down expectations, contract situations, minute situations or breakdowns, and expectations, just previewing each position group, just seeing how strong I think each position group is going into the 2022-2023 NBA season. So first, I just want to talk about Kristaps Porzingis, man. This guy is going off. He's been going bonkers in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers. The way you can watch it is courtside 1981. They played against, it's a website, you got to pay for it. They played against Great Britain yesterday. These are the numbers that Kristaps put up. And this is why he's a big reason why I'm not going to say I'm starting to become more optimistic about the Wizards this year, but I do think they can surprise some people. I do think, the over-under is like, 34, 35 and a half. This is a big reason why I think they can definitely be that over-under and can definitely, be an 8th seed or a little bit higher than that. If Kristaps is going to be, I think Kristaps Porzingis, I'm not going to call him the X factor, but he's going to be an anchor. He's going to be a big reason why. He's going to be a big reason why the Wizards go far or why they stay stagnant and have a similar year like they did last year and not make the playoffs with a play-in. It's just on his health. It's on his health. But Kristaps, he's a guy that they can really rely on and really give the ball to and take the pressure off of Bradley Beal. And these games are showing that because, I said last episode, I don't want to base too much off of FIBA basketball because we've seen guys, Patty Mills, Evan Fournier, no disrespect to those guys, go crazy overseas. And then in the NBA, they're solid starters, solid rotational guys. But Kristaps, he's doing things that he does on a normal basis when he is healthy, when he's available. Let's go over the numbers here against Great Britain. 29 minutes, 29 points, 8 for 9 for 2-point field goals, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line. Didn't shoot many threes, which I'm fine with. I love an aggressive Kristaps Porzingis. I love a Kristaps Porzingis that's living in the paint, that's dominating, the turnaround jumper, finishing strong, rebounding the ball, boarding. He had a putback dunk that was nasty. He looks really athletic. He looks really smooth. He looks really fluid. He looks really healthy right now. Knocking on wood right now. 14 boards. That's what I love. Now, they don't have the blocks. He had 3 blocks. He had 6 blocks the last game. I want to say it wasn't Finland. I can't remember. I think it was Sweden. He had 6 blocks. This game, he had 3 blocks. Got to the free throw line a bunch of times. I want to say he shot 10 for 12 from the free throw line. So he's getting to the free throw line. You look at the last 17 games of the year, he got to the free throw line frequently. He's an automatic guy that can get to the basket and put pressure on the defense and get fouled. Now, looking at the game too, they were down. It was a back and forth game. It was a swinging back and forth game. It was a very competitive game against Great Britain. They were down by 2 with 5 minutes to go. Then he made a clutch shot, tied it up, a nice turnaround jumper. Then it was 83-80 with about 2 minutes to go. He does a pump fake, gets to the basket, and just dunks and slams it. I love it. He barely has to jump to get off the ground and dunk the ball. I mean, obviously, he's 7'3", but that just shows the mismatch that Kristaps Porzingis is, where he can really dominate and take over a game, where you can just really run the offense through him. And like I said, just take the pressure off of Bradley Beal, where he doesn't have to go out there and, put up 45 points. Kristaps, see, this is the thing too. When watching the game, the way that Latvia, they run their offense, they did have another big out there, the big that missed the turnaround post-up shot, and Kristaps had the putback dunk. It looked like Kristaps was playing the 4 out there, and that other guy who's, like 6'8", was playing the 5. But a lot of the times it looked like they did have a line of where he was running the center, where you look at the paint, whatever system, whatever offense they were running, they cleared out the paint, though, because they don't want somebody in the dunker spot. The pick and roll where Kristaps had the easy layup, where he was wide open. You can watch the highlights on FIBA YouTube. This is where I saw it. I wasn't able to watch the full game. But just watching the highlights and just seeing the way that Latvia runs their offense so it can be successful for Kristaps and put him in the best situations to succeed. This is why I like him at the 5. I wouldn't mind seeing him and Gaff play together, But I do like him playing at the 5 where, Kuz would be the 4, Denny at the 3, Will Barton at the 3, whoever. But I like him being the guy who's the only post-up big, who's the only guy who's really going to be in the paint. That's what I want for Kristaps Porzingis. That's why I think he's the most successful, to be honest. Now, it's just situational lineups. If you're going to have KP and Gaff out there at the same time, then, the matchup would be, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Or if you really want to go big and dominate, I'm with that too. If West wants to do that. But just looking at the offense the way it was ran, where you just space out the floor, everybody get out the way, just let Kristaps go to work. Let him be that post-up big, or on the screen and roll, let everybody get out the way too, where he's just screening and rolling. Gaffer wouldn't be in his way, or Vernon Carey, Taj Gibson, whoever the other big is playing out there, they wouldn't really be in his way like that. So I loved what I see from Kristaps. He's making me more and more of a believer in this team and this roster. The Wizards, Wes Unseld Jr. and Monte Morris talking about the Wizards way. I'm not going to put it in quotation marks. I just want to see it to believe it before they start a Wizards way. But Kristaps, he's making me a believer, man. In the last 2 games with the Latvian national teams, he's averaging 25.5 points a game, 14 boards, 3 blocks, and 60% from the field. And I'm not going to overreact from these games because, like I said, this is stuff that he was doing in the regular season. And this is stuff that he's done. He has been an all-star. We all know the injuries, the fit with the Mavericks didn't work out. This could be a revenge season for Kristaps Porzingis. And once again, this is a contract year. It's a player. He has a player option at the end of the year. I didn't pull up the numbers of how much it is. Last time I said it was above 30 million. It's about, I can pull it up really quick here. Just go on Spot Rack. But I want to say it's about 36 million. And you know how Wizards players do when they play in contract seasons. Shout out to Jan Mahimi. Now I'm not comparing at all, but Kristaps right now in this year is not the contract year. This year is not the contract year. Next year is the contract year. 23-24, he has a player option of $36 million. So this year kind of is the contract year, to be honest, too, because going into the off season. So this year he's going to be paid $33,833,400. The 2024 season, he has a player option of $36 million. So he can decline that. Let's say Kristaps has an all-star season where he's putting up 25 and 10 and shooting 36 from the 3-point line, averaging 2 blocks. Then I certainly see him opting out and, getting maybe $40 million. And Ted Leonsis and Tommy Shepard, they will reward you. They will reward you for, good behavior, playing well, and being the face of the franchise. The front office will reward you for good play. So I think Kristaps knows that very well. Off of seeing what Bradley Beal just got paid. So it's a big year for Kristaps. He's looking good, man. He's looking good. So next episode or next show, I'm definitely going to talk about Deni Avdija's performance. They played in the World Cup qualifiers as well. I want to say they played against Sweden. My man, Iran Sirocco keeps me updated on that. So I'm going to talk about that next episode. But let's start off with Bradley Beal. But before we do get to that, this episode is brought to you by NHTSA Impaired Driving. We're going to get a quick word from them before we get to the rest of the shooting guards here. We might have to do a part 2 for that too. Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? What's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high or get a DUI. All right, so the shooting guards here. So Bradley Beal, he had an underwhelming season last year. Of course, he faced the franchise, got the big deal, $250 million for the contract, 35% of the salary, trade kicker, 15% trade kicker, no trade clause, all that good stuff. This guy got the bag. He got rewarded to the utmost. They gave him the money and more. Steph Curry doesn't have a no trade clause. Kevin Durant doesn't have a no trade clause right now. You looked at the guys that Bradley Beal's grouped in with. Kevin Garnett had a no trade clause. Kobe Bryant had a no trade clause. Tim Duncan had a no trade clause. Carmelo Anthony had a no trade clause. Right now, I'm naming Hall of Famers. So that's the group that Bradley Beal is in with right now, with as far as people who got no trade clauses. So you let that sink in. So and Steph Curry, allegedly he asked for a no trade clause, and the Warriors said no. And Steph Curry's won championships for the Warriors. So, and Bradley Beal is quoted also to say he did an interview with Hot Living. probably mispronouncing the company wrong, but he did an interview where he talked about winning. You know, he really believes that he can win a championship in DC, and I do think he feels that he genuinely can do that. This is the quote. I feel like if I win a championship here in DC, the grind of it, with everything I've been through, all the adversity, ups and downs, that would make a win that much sweeter, make me appreciate it that much more. So, I mean, yeah, it would be a tall task here in DC. The Eastern Conference is a bear this year. It's a bear. Teams got better. The Hawks got better. The Celtics got better, in my opinion. The Heat are the Heat. The Sixers are going to be good. The Nets, Kevin Durant's coming back. Kyrie Irving's coming back. There's probably teams that I'm forgetting. The Raptors are a solid team. Heat, Celtics, Sixers, Nets. I don't have a list of the teams in my head, but all these teams are good teams. They're just good teams right now. Right now, on paper, they have better rosters than the Washington Wizards. So, but just talk about Bradley Beal from a sense. Last year, an underwhelming year, but you know he didn't have a point guard next to him that could facilitate and get him the basketball. Bradley Beal, he did some things really well. I thought he passed the ball really well. I thought this was his best season as a playmaker, where he was asked to play point guard. And I'll just go over the minutes that I have projected for him. You know, you look at the last couple of years, he's played, 36 minutes a game this past year, 35.8 minutes a game in 2021, where he was all NBA. He was an all-star. And you look at the 3-point percentage, it dipped for sure. 30% from the 3-point line. We're just hoping that last year was an anomaly. You know, he had a family member that passed away. His grandmother passed away. He was in health and safety protocols twice. He had a couple unfortunate things happen this past year, but I'm not going to make any excuses. He definitely was asked to be a point guard because we just didn't have a natural point last year. Last year he played 16% of his minutes. He played point, and then 83% of his minutes he played a shooting guard. This was his highest percentage of playing point guard since the 2018 season, where he played 41% at the point guard position. Now, Bradley Beal, there's some other numbers about his shooting. His homework for me, or what I want to see him improve on, is knocking down the three. There was a lot of wide open threes that he did have. You know, on open threes where a defender was 4 to 6 feet away from him, the closest defender was 4 to 6 feet away from him. He shot 25.5% from the 3-point line when guys were 4 feet away from him, 4 to 6 feet away from him. 28 for 110. He ranked 134th out of 137 players among players who attempted at least 100 open threes last season. So that's pretty underwhelming, very underwhelming. He's a better shooter than that. You know, 2017 to 2021, he shot 34% on wide open threes. And then 2013 to 2017, he shot 39.8% on wide open threes. Now, the thing about that, 2013 to 2017, he had a point guard that set him up for easy threes, easy shots, easy looks, and John Wall. And these last couple of years, Russell Westbrook, he had a guy that was able to do that for him. And Brad still wasn't knocking it down. Now, can he get back to at least 35% from the three? Now, it will be easier for him. I just think in a sense because you got Kristaps Porzingis who's going to attract double teams, and that will make it easier for him. Last year, he just didn't have a lot of guys that were attracting defensive coverages. And this is an interesting stat as well from Basketball Index that just shows how defenses really guard Bradley Beal, how much attention that Bradley Beal attracts from defense because he's just been such a legitimate scorer, 30 points a game, 2 years in a row, second in scoring points per game. So this is from Basketball Index. The 2021-22 guards that drew the opposing defense's most impactful defenders as their matchup, minimum 1,000 minutes. Number 1 is Luka Doncic. Number 2 is Damian Lillard. Number 3 is Bradley Beal. After that is John Morant, Kevin Porter Jr. from the Rockets. Number 6 is Anthony Edwards. Number 7 is Trae Young. Number 8 is Cade Cunningham. Number 9 is Kyrie Irving. And number 10 is Devin Booker. So this list, it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, they're going to throw a lot of impactful defenders at Luka Doncic. They're going to try to stop him. They're going to throw their best wing defender at him. You look at the Suns and Mikal Bridges, they put him on Luka Doncic. Then they put Andrew Wiggins on Luka Doncic. Dame Lillard is a bucket. So it just shows the tough matchup and the gravity of defenders that they want to throw at Bradley Beal. This is another stat from B-Ball Index as well. The 10 2021-22 players who spent the highest percentage of their time on offense guarded by wing stoppers. Number 1 in the league last year was Bradley Beal. Number 2, this is an outlier here, is Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross is a bucket getter. We know he's a wizard killer. So I'm not going to say anything bad about Terrence Ross, but it shows again, number 3 was Devin Booker. Number 4 was RJ Barrett. Number 5 was Kevin Durant. Number 6 was Luka. Number 7 was DeMar DeRozan. Number 8 was Chris Middleton. Number 9 was Donovan Mitchell. And number 10 was Jimmy Butler. So And that shows you if Brad and Donovan Mitchell played together, they would get, tough defenders on them. They would attract a lot of defensive coverages. But at the same time, people trying to double or bracket Bradley Beal is kind of like pick your poison. I don't think the Donovan Mitchell trade is going to happen in DC at all. But I'm just saying if it did happen, you can look at it in a positive light like that. So it just shows how also another thing that bodes well for Bradley Beal too that I found from Basketball Index is that the 2022 season, top 15 offensive players in average matchup difficulty guarded by via matchup data. Bradley Beal was number 6 in that. Also, for his playmaking, the largest rise in assist points per 75 positions from last year to this year. Number 1 was DeJounte Murray. Number 2 is Pat Bev. Number 3 is Andre Iguodala. Number 4 was Bradley Beal. So it showed how much his largest rise in assist points per 75 possessions. You look at the game against the Bulls where he had 17 assists, where he was the primary playmaker, where he was the point guard. I thought he did a good job. But the preview for him is I want to see him shoot the 3-ball better. I want to see him be better in the clutch. I want to see him knock down free throws in the clutch. There's a lot of times where he will miss the technical free throw sometimes. There will be times where he goes 1 for 2 from the 3. But Brad is a legitimate 3-level scorer. We know what we're going to get from him for the most part as scoring. He's a guy that can really take over a game. He really is. And is he a number 1 option? It's debatable, but we need him to step up as a leader off the court for sure, which he already is a great guy off the court. But we definitely need him to rally the troops, and we need him to finish games for us and be, step up in the clutch time. We need that to happen for him. Can he shoot the ball better? And will he be better with a better fit? I think in Monte Morris, things will be a lot easier for Bradley Beal, where he doesn't have to handle the ball handling duties and think about scoring at the same time. So that's the preview for him. I do have him at 35 minutes per game this year. Really, I'm going to say about 37. I think he's going to play actually 36. I'm going to say 36. You look at the last couple of years with minutes per game and the minutes distribution. I don't want to get to Corey Kispert's minutes, how much I think Corey Kispert's going to get too. But I have Brad, getting about 35 minutes per game. He averaged 36 last year. I'm going to say 36.9. I'm going to say about 36.9. 35. I'm going to go with 36.5, 36 and a half minutes per game. So that's Bradley Beal's homework in the preview for me. I do think he's going to get another All-Star season. I think he's going to make an All-Star team. I got him averaging, about 25 points a game. I think he's going to have a 25-5 season. I think he's going to get a lot of assists to Kristaps. The pick and roll, the pick and pop is going to be an explosive, high-octane offense. And he said Kristaps is the most talented big that he's played with. I'm really intrigued to see him play with Kristaps. I'm really intrigued to see that dynamic duo. Instead of it just being like a dynamic backcourt, we have a big in a guard, which the Wizards haven't really done something like that in a while. It's usually just been the house of guards, Russ and Bill or John Wall and Bill. This year it's Bill and Kristaps or Kristaps and Bill. So I'm intrigued to see that. So my projection for him is 26 points a game, 35% from the 35% from the 3-point line. And I want to see him get to the free throw line a lot too. He does a really good job of that. His numbers for that went down too, 5 free throws attempts per game, where the year before he shot 7 free throws per game. So I want to see that go up too. I really do. So I'm happy to have Brad on the team, him and Kristaps. I'm intrigued to see that. So quickly, we'll go over Corey, and then I think we'll go over Will Barton and Johnny Davis in the next episode, in part 2 of the shooting guards. But I'll go over Corey Kispert. Corey Kispert had a solid year. Now it started off a little rocky, but he had a solid year. He shot 35% from the 3. In the beginning of the year, the first half of the year, he struggled a little bit, but he was 39% from the 3 after the All-Star game. So things that I love about Corey is his off-ball movement. He doesn't need the ball to be successful. He's a guy that I think can definitely benefit off of Kristaps, once again, getting double teams, and Bradley Beal getting double teams. The thing is, Corey, look at his numbers too. Corey played a lot at the small forward position. So I might have to group him in the wings too. You look at the play-by-play stats on Basketball Reference. 35% of his minutes played were at shooting guard last year, and then he played. My computer refreshed on me for some reason. So he played 62% at the small forward position. Now he started a lot of games when Brad got injured, and remember KCP was playing the 2 guard, so Corey played the 3. He ended the season shooting 35% from the 3, 8 points a game, 2 boards a game, and 1 assist. He's a guy that's capable of being a 50-40-90 guy. That's my challenge for him. I challenge Corey to be a 50, 40, 90 guy this year. Now, minutes distribution, he played 23.4 minutes per game. I think that can go up. It's going to be tough because, you have Will on the team. There's a wings in guards. There is somewhat of a logjam there. So, I think Will's going to start at the 3. I think Corey's going to be the second 2 guard to come in behind Bradley Beal. And then you got Denny or Rui at the 3 or at the 4. I think Denny's going to play small 4. I think Denny's going to come off the bench behind Will Barton. So, where is Corey going to get his minutes? Is he going to be playing at 3? Is he going to come off the bench as the 3 or really just come off the bench behind Bradley Beal? So it's going to be intriguing. Johnny Davis, it's going to be tough for him to get minutes. It's going to be tough. I think Will Barton's going to play a lot of minutes too. He's going to be obviously going to be your starter. I think Will Barton's going to play about 30 minutes a game. So I think Corey is still going to be in that. He played 23.4 minutes a game. Of course, his minutes per game went up with Bradley Beal being out and then Corey becoming a starter. So his numbers certainly skyrocketed off of that. But they're going to need Corey. They're going to need his floor spacing. They were bottom 5 in 3-point percentage last year. They were bottom 5 in 3-pointers made last year. They need guys that can stretch the floor and knock down a 3. And when Kristaps is doubled or Bradley Beal's doubled or bracketed, Corey's got to knock it down. He's got to be ready. He's got to be ready in that corner, ready on the wing to knock down those 3s. Now, this is something that I really love about Corey. And he's not just a 3-point shooter. He can do other things. He is athletic. He can play above the rim. Had a couple of nice dunks last year, very impressive dunks. His interior scoring and off-ball movement popped this season, his rookie year. 63% on 2s, including 75% at the rim, the 90th percentile. Very good off-the-dribble handoffs, really good moving to the ball, really great as an off-ball cutter. Now, he did set the record for rookie 3-pointers made. He broke Bradley Beal's record. He made at least 100 threes, had 6 threes against the Warriors. He's a guy that can get hot, moving without the ball, getting open, coming off screens, a la Duncan Robinson, a la Kyle Korver, Doug McDermott, Reggie Bullock, guys like that, Wesley Matthews, other shooters. You look at the way they move without the ball. Klay Thompson as well. You look at the way they move without the basketball. He's an underrated playmaker too. He can put the ball on the floor and make plays. He really is good at that too. So I'm intrigued by Corey Kispert. I'm intrigued by can he make a leap? Is he more than just a catch and shoot guy? Is he more than just a shooter? And he's a guy that made, somebody like a Bertans expendable last year because he was able to knock down a 3. Now, defensively, he's there's a lot to be desired there. He was, one of the worst defenders per the LeBron metric, the Raptor metric, plus minus. He was one of the worst defenders last year. So that's my homer for him. I don't know if he's ever going to be a legitimate or a lockdown defender, but of course it's cut and dry for Corey a little bit. Just knocking down the 3, moving without the basketball, knocking down that 3. I want to see him be a 50, 40, 90 guy, which I think he can do. The 3-point from the free throw line, he didn't get there much, but the free throws he knocked down. He shot 35% from the 3. 87% from the free throw line. His field goal percentage as well was 45%. So get that field goal percentage up to 50%, get that 3-point percentage up to 40, and get that free throw line percentage up to 90, which is not too far off. He's about 3% away from the free throw percentage, about 5% away or 0.5% away on the field goal percentage, and then about 5% or 0.5% away on the 3-point percentage. So it's definitely attainable. So we're gonna wrap up here with the shooting guards, and then we'll do part 2. I do want to talk about Denny's performance on the next episode. But before we do get off, man, something's just, weighing heavy on my heart, especially in DC sports. Brian Robinson, the running back for the Commanders, was shot multiple times on 8th Street in DC. It's really disturbing to me. And the way it connects to the Wizards is because Denny Avdia said he was robbed multiple times in DC. Corey Kispert, he was robbed as well. His car was stolen. So something's got to stop, man, in the city. Something's got to give here. Something's got to give. We got to. It's ridiculous right now. It's getting out of hand, and it's getting, and not just players, just human beings in general. We got to stop the violence. I know I'm preaching to the choir, and I want to keep it basketball, but I just had to say something about that. I really did, because it's scary. You think about what happened to Sean Taylor years ago, where he was robbed in his own home, and that wasn't in DC, but still, it just brings up scary reminders of that. It really does. So, just want to thank you guys for listening once again and making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On NBA your second listen. I just want to make sure you guys check out the Locked On NBA channel and podcast. You get the latest news and rumors in the NBA in just 30 minutes every day. With Locked On NBA, your daily NBA update in just 30 minutes. Make sure you guys subscribe to Locked On Wizards on YouTube and hit the notification bell. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.